You're listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and of course that means my name can only be Andrew Mackay-Smith. Hope you're well wherever you might be listening from, wherever you are in the world. The interview subject coming up for you is called Timo Rotten, and he's from Germany's Oceans. Now, if you like your new metal on the harder side, these are the guys to listen to, actually. I didn't pick it up initially, but it's definitely there, and you'll hear that through the conversation with Timo. Now, the reason for the conversation is to promote their brand new album, which will be released very soon, which is the 10th of January 2020, called The Sun and the Cold. So let's have a listen to what he has to say. Here we go.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. How's the? Have you had many interviews before me, and how they've been going?
They've been going great. Yeah, I had a couple. This is the third or fourth today,
Okay, gotcha.
and I
Yeah.
keep mixing up. I keep mixing the countries up. So are you from Australia or New Zealand?
Australia. I'm definitely from
Okay,
Australia.
Australia. Australia.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
don't say that to anybody from New Zealand because they get really offended when you call them Australians. They got like little brother chip on their shoulder syndrome over there.
Yeah, well, I just did before, but he was fine with it.
Yeah, I don't think there's so many bloody Kiwis in Australia these days. There's something like 1 in 8 people born in New Zealand live in Australia these days. Yet they fight so hard for their national identity as a country. Yet apparently 1 in 8 don't want to live there, so they live here.
Yeah,
But economic opportunity and everything else. I've been there
yeah,
heaps of
sure.
times. It's impossible not to go over there when you're Australian because you end up family members Kiwis end up becoming family members and all of that sort of stuff. So they think that they're really different from us, but they're not really. It's it's like the Norwegian Swedish thing. You know what I mean? Sort of.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I am from Germany, but I live in Austria, and this kind of sounds a little bit the same. Like Austria always being
Mistaken.
struggling with their own identity and being mistaken with Germans when they're not. And yeah, I kind of get it, I guess.
Yeah, it's always interesting in the States when regular people in the States on Twitter or whatever it might be refer to Arnie Schwarzenegger as German, and it's like, nah, he's not. He's Austrian.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Well,
mate, I like your album. So I got the press release, of course.
hmm.
The name of the album's "The Sun and the Cold." Great album name, by the way. And
Thanks.
my take on it is that it's very modern sounding death metal. I'm not sure that I'm hearing a lot of the '90s new metal that was mentioned in the press release. So to be honest with you, I think you're a bit beyond that. I don't know who wrote that, but I'm not sure that I'd agree with that. And the post rock thing, I can definitely feel the post rock thing. That Death Heaven post black and post rock thing, that post black metal post rock thing. I think you got a bit of that in there. But I think overall, man, I mean, it's just getting hard to classify and try to bundle music into a box these days.
Yeah,
I just think you
it
guys,
is.
guys craft really solid modern heavy metal. Do you agree with that?
uh, Dude, actually, whatever you want to call it, because
Yeah,
I know that people love labels, and you kind of need them to navigate through the world, not only music
yeah,
but everything.
yeah,
I get it, but I really don't know. I mean, those three genres you mentioned, that's what we say to kind of explain to people what we do,
yeah.
like this
Gotcha.
mix of new metal, death metal, and post rock. And of course, with Blast, we came up with this new label, doing like what all the bands do nowadays. They just invent a new
Yes,
label for
you can't
themselves.
keep up. Yeah,
We're called post death metal now.
post death metal, we've arrived. Here we are.
Yes, here we are. So,
Awesome.
I mean, it sounds cool, but yeah, whatever. Um, um, I don't really care. You can call us whatever you want to, if it comes to me.
Yeah,
But I
there's
would
a
agree. I would agree with what you said, actually,
yes.
except the new metal thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the new metal thing, I never liked it. I'll come out and say that now. Not a hater from the perspective that people can like whatever the hell they want to like,
Hmm.
but because I'm in my
Hmm.
40s, I remember when that shit broke. Like when Korn broke, and Korn actually were a very good band on their first two albums. I've got to say, I thought that
Hmm.
their first two albums are virtually untouchable in the genre. I don't Actually, I think they're the only two new metal albums worth listening to, all things considered. But, Limp Bizkit and all that other garbage that came out just afterwards. Like, I mean, what surprises me, mate, is that people still listen to this crap because bands
Yeah,
like...
I do.
Is that
I
right?
do.
You listen to Limp Bizkit, do you?
I do, yeah. And like, but the thing is, in this band, the four of us, we all have like very different love for different styles of metal and music in general.
Yeah.
And I'm the new metal guy in the band.
What other new metal? So give me an education here in a minute or so. What new metal should I be listening to in order for something to change my mind on new metal?
I'm not sure if I can change your mind on that, to be honest. But I grew up listening to all. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I also experienced that whole thing go down the gutter. But I grew up listening to all those 90s, late 90s and early 2000s new metal bands. Korn was and still is my most favorite band, probably. The early Slipknot albums are awesome, I think.
Okay.
And Deftones are still doing really great music, I think. But I also like this like crossover rap thing. I do actually love Limp Bizkit.
Oh, you do like it. Okay. Look, that's fair enough. Like, as I said, I've got nothing against anybody who likes it. I just can't stand it myself. And
No, the same here. And no offense taken or anything. But what I love about that music back then was that it wasn't so much about like other metal being, we need to be faster, we need to be the best guitar player in the world, and all this technique thing that is going on in so many genres. New metal wasn't about that at all. It wasn't very complicated in structures or technique at their instruments. It was just about this raw emotion being transported through the music. Sure. I mean, especially go back to those first two Korn albums that you mentioned. I mean, the emotion that is transported on those albums, especially by Jonathan Davis, it's so intense. And this is what was so amazing to me. And this is actually what we are trying to do in Oceans. We're also not trying to be over the top technical. We're not that good at our instruments to be like this progressive, sweeping the guitar up and down, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. We just can't do that, and we don't want to do that, actually. I just want to have this emotionally part of the music be the most prominent. And and I guess maybe the new metal influence is not so heavy in the music, in the instrumentals, but I think it's very heavy in the vocals.
Is that right?
I am influenced a lot, but I mean not the growls, but the clean vocals. I mean, I would say that I'm very heavily influenced by Jonathan Davis and all those singers from that era.
That's interesting, yeah, because I didn't pick it up, to be honest with you, because I think your music's quality, actually, and as I've basically alluded to, or said directly, I don't think your new metal is quality, and but I think that's the benefit of it, and I actually agree with you on that point specifically, and you've been very articulate in the way you frame that in this day and age, well, it was like that back then too, because that's when I was coming through as well, but there's this tendency for musicians to want to show off and play as fast and as technically as they can. And oh god, I've had this conversation a lot lately with my podcast series with musicians. But you've got a groove. A new metal definitely did that. I'll pay that. You have to have swagger and groove in your music. There are bands like death metal bands that are quite brutal and uncompromising, like Nile, but they still groove. There's still an element of tap your foot and nod your head to it. But some of this tech death shit that I get sent, I listen to it and it's actually unlistenable, really. I mean, I don't know. It's basically a nuclear arms race to see who can make the fastest, most unlistenable music.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to listen to it from a musician's perspective, to just see what people can do, actually. It's like extreme sports or something. So, oh my, some people run fast and those guys play fast, and it's amazing. And it takes a lot of practice and effort and everything, and I appreciate that and I respect it. But for me, music needs to talk to my heart, not to my brain.
Yeah, and look, I really love the cut Dark. Actually, that's probably one of my favourite cuts released in the last few weeks. I get heaps of stuff sent to me, but I found myself listening to that one over and over again. It's dense, it's layered, but what I found with it is the listening experience was very different between having it on speakers and then having it on headphones, which leads me to the conclusion that you guys are what I call a headphones band. Would you agree with that statement as well?
Yeah, why not? When you're listening on the thing is, I guess I am a headphone person. I listen to music on my headphones since I was 12 back then when we had MP3 players, or even I even had a disc. I even had a Discman and a Walkman. Jesus God, I'm old. Whatever. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because you easily get distracted when you're listening on speakers, I guess, and I think we made an album that you can really dive into and lose yourself, because the emotional, it is very emotional and intense.
Yeah, great.
At some points.
Yeah.
I think at least it is that way, and yeah, I guess on headphones that's even more intense than I don't know. You could say that probably.
Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, the fact that you're someone who listens to music predominantly on the headphones doesn't surprise me that you've crafted an album that I feel sounds much better on headphones too, and take that as a compliment, because not every album does. Believe me, some albums need the air and the space of a speaker to travel the meter or two to you in order to make sense. You know, like a lot of a lot of people feel that you're supposed to listen to vinyl records with headphones on, and I disagree totally. I think you should be listening to them with a really good, high-quality pair of speakers, so they bounce off the room. But I think you guys are quite opposite. And look, in all honesty, I haven't lived with it long enough yet to make a really harsh judgment call on that, or a really specific judgment call on that. But it's just what I found so far, and I think that if you can do that and you can draw people into what I call your musical universe, it helps it helps your career, because obviously then you're getting more, in inverted commas, like the fans are investing in you a bit more. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Maybe.
You know.
That's really interesting. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And good for us, because most of the people are streaming music on their headphones today. So.
Indeed. That, or in the car, one of the two. I mean, CarPlay systems, these days. But in terms of the band members and stuff, I take it, do you write most of the music yourself and then give it to the other guys as such, or how does the songwriting process happen in the band?
I mean, we need to write together. That's where this kind of magic happens.
Yep.
But the problem is that we're all over the place. I live in Vienna, and our drummer too. Thomas, our bass player, lives in Berlin.
Yeah.
And Patrick, our guitar player, lives in northern Bavaria. So we're like, I don't know, from Vienna to Patrick, it's like about 6 car drive hours.
6 hours, Jesus, yeah.
6 hours car drive, yeah. And then from there to Berlin, it's another 3.5 or something. So we cannot just say, hey, let's meet up at this weekend and write new songs together. We have to do it all like digitally. So mostly it starts with someone having a riff or a melody or something, and then we just write digitally. And then, I mean, I start most of the songs and then send them to the other guys. We talk about it, listen to it. They all put in their ideas, and then we work on it. And that's what we did for the album, actually. And what I really like about it, that it's very, we take time for the songs. Like some of the songs, as I said, I wrote the first songs for the album in 2016 or something. And at the moment we think they're done, we put them in a drawer, and then, I don't know, a couple of weeks or months later, we put it out again, listen to it again, say, oh, okay, it's not finished yet. We need to change a little bit more here, there.
The wonders of modern technology, hey? I mean, isn't that awesome that you can live 6 hours and the other fella's 9 hours away from you, and you can craft an album using what I call the riff bank in the sky, the cloud. You can collaborate that way. I mean, it's so awesome. I mean, there are bands these days where every member, I don't know whether this is the case for you two anymore, but where just about every member lives on a different continent, say Australia, US, Europe, and South America or whatever. Yeah, you can do it. You can actually do it these days if you find people that are capable enough and are on the same page and you can communicate effectively. And I think that's the key point is a lot of people can't communicate effectively over electronic means. They can only do that face-to-face. But
yeah, it is not that easy though.
No, because it's not that easy because it's very condensed and you miss verbal cue or non-verbal cues, visual cues that might indicate someone's trying to say something else this sort of thing. But look, it's whatever. I mean, you can overcome these things, and clearly you guys have managed that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I do miss those guys. I wished we could see each other more often because I really we know each other so long, so I consider them as family.
Yeah.
And but
yeah, sweet.
Anytime we meet, it's even more intense then, of course, because it's just
you got plenty to talk about.
Yeah, we have good chemistry going on, definitely. So,
what about touring and promotion then? Have Nuclear Blast been behind you in terms of getting onto those enormous European summer festivals that have just finished, or will you be looking forward to them coming up in sort of May through to June next year?
Now, well, we're doing a tour right after the album release together with Equilibrium and Lord of the Lost and Nail to Obscurity. Like we're doing a lot of German dates and German-speaking countries. I think there's Switzerland and Austria. But besides that, there's not much confirmed. We're doing some festivals, but I mean, Nuclear Blast it doesn't get involved into booking, honestly. That much. That's not what they do. So I mean, it helps that you have this name behind your back.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But yeah, we're doing one festival, but it isn't officially confirmed right now, so I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah. Understood.
But yeah, we're still working on that. I mean, I think the problem, if you want to say like that, we're still very new. And I guess to all those promoters, we still have to prove ourselves.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But I think after the album is out, this will like break the ice with a lot of people, and there will be more shows being confirmed. We're already working on another tour for fall next year, and I hope we can. I mean, with those other bands we played in before, we have been touring North America, and I really hope to tour North America, Canada, and also Australia for the first time, in New Zealand. That would be great. I mean, you guys have some huge festivals over there too.
We do now. We didn't for a bit. Ever since Soundwave cancelled, there was nothing. Yeah. But then now we've got Good Things and Download, or the Donington, aka Download. We've got here these days. Yeah, I think you guys coming down here to do it too. You mentioned a really good band a moment ago, Nailed to Obscurity. I had a chat to Jan Ollie and Raymond about 12 months ago, and those guys impressed me, I've got to say.
Yeah, they're cool.
Good band, solid band. I think you guys are a solid double bill, and I think I mean, it all depends on what the promoters down here want to do, and we've got some really good promoters, I must say, such as Dicey from Soundworks, or Direct Touring as they're called these days. But just getting a couple of the newer Nuclear Blast bands like you guys on a 3 or 4 band bill, but then put it in a club. To be honest, I reckon that'd be a killer night out. And I know it's a long way to travel for a 45-minute set, but man, imagine that. You're getting introduced to the Australian audiences across 4 or 5 dates with some other killer bands from Europe or the US for Australian fans. I wonder if that could ever be done, because I think there's merit in that.
Well, I hope so. I mean, we just want to play everywhere at the moment. It's just like we're so pumped. So why not make a tour through Australia? I mean,
yeah. No, for sure.
But not many bands do that, though, right?
Do
many bands come, or
at the moment it's honestly at the moment it's oversaturated. I got to tell you, at any given week. I mean, I'm struggling to mention the name of the bands that might be touring this week, but I can tell you the bands that I've got look forward to touring are Revocation, Obituary, There's a
Cool.
whole bunch of bands that are coming up. Deftones, like seriously, like it's there's almost just about every band has a release out that's been
Hmm.
around for say longer than 10 years.
Hmm.
Generally speaking, gets down here. So
Cool.
it's yeah. I think if anything, mate, Australian audiences are a bit. I wouldn't say fatigued, but I mean, there's only so much money that we've got to spend on going to shows. So, I think I think the promoters probably feel that way too sometimes, and sort of a bit of a break sometimes is good, so as though we can look forward to these wonderful international touring acts coming through again. Because I've missed a couple of good ones myself. Like I really wanted to watch
Hmm.
Deaf Heaven again, but I
Hmm.
generally have a rule that if I've seen a band once, I won't go and see them again, only because I'm so busy. I've got kids and everything else in my life
Yeah.
happening, and it's very sort of hard to justify going and seeing a band when I've already seen them once in the last 12 months. That sort of thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I get that.
But
Yeah,
here's
but I mean, it's cool.
yeah, I'll make this my last question for you, mate. And I tend to
Hmm.
ask a lot of the German. I know you're in Austria there, but you said you're originally from Germany there. But
Yes, that's true.
yeah, I reckon per head per capita of population, Germany, along with Sweden, has produced more musicians and more heavy metal musicians to that point than anywhere else, including the bands. So, what do you? I mean, even in the '90s, when heavy metal wasn't just a dirty word, it was basically banned
Hmm.
the press. Heavy metal was huge in Germany. It's like you guys just don't give a shit, which is awesome. So, I mean, it might be hard because you are German and you just live within the culture to sort of answer the question,
Hmm.
but do you have a take or a perspective on that?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just grew up with it and never questioned that, to be honest.
Hmm.
But it is true. I mean, the metal scene since the 80s, I guess, has been very vivid in Germany. And I mean, that's probably why all those huge summer festivals came up. But in the last years, I mean, there's still a shit ton of bands going on there, but
Hmm.
I think in the last years it has declined a little
Okay.
because um, the teens nowadays are not so much more drawn to metal and rock music anymore. I think hip hop has
Oh
and
yeah.
rap has much more has gained more ground than ever.
Yeah.
In Germany as well, there's like a whole scene of like German rap. It's not only the English speaking
Yeah, I've heard some
ones,
of
but
it.
German
Yeah.
rap is really really big here as well. And yeah, I think if you want to say it like that, I mean, but I guess the metal has lost, if you want to say it like that, a lot of kids to rap and hip hop.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know why actually. Maybe because the music industry in metal is still very old and backwards,
Hmm.
and people working in metal promotion and the industry are still kind of stuck in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, rap has in especially in music marketing has
Spot on.
embraced
Yeah.
has embraced streaming and social media and everything from the start, and metal still is kind of stuck with those huge bands that have been there for the last 30, 40 years. And I mean, it's cool that they're still around, but that might be the problem. And that you can see that in Germany and Austria as well, that a lot of like clubs are closing down. There's not as much like metal.
Is
We
that
had a shit
right?
ton of
Yeah.
metal bars like everywhere. In
Yeah.
every small city, there was at least this one metal bar where all the metalheads came together. This is declining as well. They're all closing down because I guess don't have enough people coming.
That sucks. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. But there's still tons of shows happening everywhere. So I don't think that's declining. Just that's a
Yeah.
good thing. I mean, that's cool.
You make a really good point there about the cross promotional side of it. The way the hip hop artists like Kanye market themselves. I mean, they're brands as well as they are
Yeah, yeah.
musicians. If you can call them musicians, you can kind of call them musicians, but they're really brands. Like so, it's as important for a hip hop artist to have a line of something, whether that be a soft drink or a pair of shoes or some other bullshit consumer product, But the
Yeah,
kids
I mean,
love that stuff.
yeah, and they just figured out that okay, there's traditional ways of making money with music have died because no one's buying CDs anymore, or the majority isn't. There's just a small portion of the people that still buy CDs and vinyl and that stuff. So they understood that they need to find other areas where they can market themselves and make money out of it, which is, yeah, it's okay. I think. I mean, people need to make a living. I go to the office every day. It's not very metal what I do here, but I have to. So why not?
What do
Why
you do
not
for
find
a
something better?
What do you do for a day job? What keeps you occupied?
I'm like in digital marketing and communication.
Oh, well, you know
So
all about it then. Yeah, you're a smart guy, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that helped. That definitely helped a lot in like establishing the band, of course, like because I know one thing or two about social media and how
Oh,
this
yeah.
works.
Hey, do you have that thing happen though? Because I've had this happen to me recently with an organisation I'm a part of. Because I'm back at university, you see, and I'm a journalism student. I'm almost done, but I'm a social media major, so a bit like yourself, I'm right up on it. I mean, I have to be, otherwise I don't pass my assessments and my exams.
Mm-hmm.
But do you find that with all of the expertise and knowledge you've got, people around you will sometimes go, I don't want to do that, or you're wrong, or something? You know what I mean? Like they don't take your word on it. With all of the knowledge that you've accumulated over the years that you've been doing your job, that you still get challenged by people who think that they know better in that sphere?
Yeah, yeah, of
It's
course.
crazy,
But I
isn't
think
it?
that's probably the case in everywhere when you're working with people that that they think they know better.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't. I mean, you can't force anyone to their luck.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty
They're
true.
gonna find out eventually on themselves.
Well, mate, you got a good head on your shoulders. This is a good album, man. The Sun and the Cold, probably the best album title of 2020 that I've got so far. You know, we've got heaps of albums that I've got in my, my iTunes music that aren't due for release until well into the next year. But
Hmm.
we get advances. You need to, otherwise, gosh,
Yeah.
I've got nothing to listen to for these interviews. But great album title. I think you guys have got it going on. You know, just good luck with it, man. I mean, just talking to you, I think you're obviously very mature and you know exactly what you're trying to achieve with the band here. I just hope you achieve everything you want with it.
Thank you very much. There's got to be. I've got to. I mean, I'm doing this for like I don't know, 15 years now. There's got to be something that I've learned.
No, you've learned a lot, man. I can tell with this album. So good album, man. It's a
Cool.
solid
Glad you
heavy
like
metal
it.
album. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do.
Thank you.
All right. Well, all the best with everything, brother, and hopefully we'll see you in Australia sometime soon.
I hope so too. Then I wish you a good evening, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what time's it over there for you? Is it about midday or so? Is it or earlier?
So here's like it's 11 a.m. now. So
11 a.m. All right. Well,
I have a whole day of work ahead of me.
well, do what you can to enjoy it. Get a couple of coffees. There you go. And look forward to
I will.
that. Look forward to that beer tonight, Friday
I
night.
will.
No
All right,
worries.
man. Thank you, and have a good one.
Thanks, brother. All the best with everything.
Bye.
Catch ya. You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name is Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject was Timo Rotten from the German outfit Oceans. Thanks so much for listening.